Creations. You can find me on Facebook. And the tools that we're using today, this is my big cutter. This is made for, sorry, the handle's flipping off, give me a second. It's made for memory wire or heavier wires. And the reason we use it is that my good little Japanese cutters that I always use for every class won't go through the memory wire. They will, but you'll end up with a dent in your pliers and then you have to replace them. So you don't want to do that. And then a round nose pair. We might need a flat nose pair for a little tweaking after, but nothing much. This is the piece that we're going to make. Different colors, of course, and a little bit different, but I buy a bag of glass beads at John Bead Outlet. The one, I'm going to have to put a board under me. Let me just slide a couple of things over here so that you'll be able to see everything better. It's harder for me to work on the board, but if you guys can see, then it's best. I'm going to grab a couple of them and I'll get my workstation up higher. Okay, so now I'm just going to put my beads on. Maybe one more. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about the height here. And that might be too much, but we'll try. Okay, so I'm going to try and work up high, which is a little more difficult for me, but if we can see better, it'll work. So now I have a big mess here, but that's okay. We'll work from the table and from the top here. So I put out a bunch of spacer beads. These are, oh, that's my bead. Okay, so these are little lanterns, and I have some barrels, and I have some pretty sort of texturized silver beads. And I had one more kind. Where did, no, just the 3 spacers. I have more, but I figured just get out a few to begin with. My bins are right here. So I'm just, everything's slid under my recording station here. All right, so I'm just picking everything up and then we'll get started. You might want to, if you're following along, figure out your pattern that you want. Doesn't have to be a set pattern, but if you have bigger beads and smaller beads like I do, then I like to space them apart. You know, like put a big bead and then a small bead and such. I don't like, this is just personal preference, I don't like to have a bunch of small beads and then a bunch of big beads. I like them to mix better. Okay? But as I said, your preference, it's your bracelet. Sorry, just trying to get those last few beads. Okay, I think I'm all set again now. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with our memory wire. And memory wire comes in different sizes, different colors. I wouldn't worry if it's a dark silver or light silver. You're not really seeing much of it. As you can see here, you see that little wee bit on the very end. So this is a memory wire bracelet, and it just goes on like a wrap. So it's a one size fits all. And you can buy it in different sizes. I have some in my studio that's really small for children, or somebody with a really tiny wrist. This is the average size. And then I do have some that's a little bigger, but I find it to be in a choker size to make little necklaces, and you can buy it in a ring size. It's like a piece about this long, just coiled really tightly, and you can make rings with it. It's harder to find the necklace and the ring size, but you can if you look really hard. Okay, so our first step, we take our round nose pliers, and this is quite difficult to do. You're not going to just twist it and have it twist. You have to put it on the end and really twist it. And I'm using a lot of strength on this one. You can see it slips out of my pliers, and I just have to keep putting it back in. I'm going to bring it towards me so I can do it a little easier. Yeah, see if I have the torque right here, it's a little easier. All right, so all I've done is put a little loop. I'll hold it up where you can see it better. Little loop on the end, okay? Now, it's going this way. We want it to go that way. So we're going to take it in our pliers and try to twist it. Okay, so now it's going that way. So that's just so it doesn't stick out from our bracelet. All right, so I want this one to be maybe, let's say 3 wraps. So I'm just gonna count. So from this to here is 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna cut a little bit past the 3 mark so that I have enough to wrap. And again, I use the big suckers and just, I never know how to hold these. I don't use them often enough. There we go. Okay, so that's for another one. So now we have it so that our end is wrapped and we have it just like so. I'm going to take this off because I don't like wearing this when I'm working. It's a bit bigger than I like. You can see all the different pieces I have. So I have some big, some small, and I'm just going to sort through and put into just a little pattern for myself. I grabbed out about 5 or 6 of each of my spacers, so I want to space those out over the whole project. I don't want it just to be, oh, I used up my spacers in the first 3 inches of it. I want them to spread out. Now I do have more, of course, but if I see one like so, I will look in my bin to see if I have another one like it, because that makes really pretty earrings. And my light is not on. 1 second, sorry. I was wondering why I couldn't see you all, see the beads as well. Okay, so I'm just looking for a couple of bigger ones. Like this is a cute little heart one. That would make cute earring if I have a second one. So as I was mentioning, these beads come from John Bead Outlet. You can go in and purchase, you don't have to have any out of color, and they're leftover little bits of their beads. So you might get a few that match, you might not get any that match. So I'm not looking at any matchy ones here. Just pulling out some more. Okay, well I have these 2 that match. So I can use those earrings. I want to find these really cute 2 ones. So I think with the space, so I'm going to set those aside. So that's what I'm saying. If you go through your bin right away, you can pick out the ones for your earring. I'm just going to grab out a few more beads. I don't have enough here, I don't think. Now, next thing, I'm going to sort them by size. Just basic. These are big, those are small. And I want the tubes separate as well. So just bracelet and where you want it. You don't want too much all together. So I think that's about it. I have a couple of pretty daggers that I'm going to keep for another project. Okay. So now to start, oh, excuse me, I'm going to grab my wire. And of course you start at the end you haven't finished off. And let's put a big one on first, just to get it all started. Maybe we'll try to put the heart in the center. Never know if I can get it in the center or not, but we'll attempt it. Sorry. This does work like a slinky and tangle while you're working. I'll use this little teardrop one. All right, so you just basically thread them all on. And if you can't find the hole, just keep trying. This one might be a side drill. Nope, can't use it. So like I said, they're leftover bits and bobs of different colors. You get a nice mix of the shapes and sizes with all in the same color range. So they're perfect for this type of project. But you might find some that don't work. I've had some where it's just too fine a hole for the memory wire, or it's too big for the memory wire. So you just work it around until it rests against your little loop and keep going. So I'm going to do about 1 large, 4 small, and then a spacer. Okay, so if you're following along, just do your own pattern. If you're watching, this is what I'm doing. It's just making my own pattern up. So what did I say? 4 small? Oh, these holes are so tiny. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 1 more, and then I'll do a large and a spacer. So the main thing about doing memory wire is getting that loop to be closed perfectly. If you don't close it perfectly, your work's going to slide off eventually. Okay. So I'm just going to repeat my basic pattern of 1 large, 4 small, and a spacer. And I'm going to rotate the 3 spacers that I have so they're all throughout. Find where the hole is. So any questions that you guys have, I am more than happy to answer. Just ask away and we can get some discussion going if you'd like. And let's see, what are we doing in the next few classes? I do have the Chainmail Thursdays coming up. And Chainmail Thursdays, we're just going to learn a different weave every Thursday. Sorry, I'm not sure what I said there. And it's going to be fun. We're going to end up in August with one of my favorites. It's called Japanese 12 and 2. And it looks like little flowers. And I'll show you a couple of different ways of doing it so it looks even more like flowers. Hey, 1, 2. And I don't know if I know most of you are in Toronto, but not all. But I can tell you that a lot of the bead stores are now open again. Some are by appointment only, so I'll list the ones off the top of my head. Bead Effect and Bead Dynasty and my other favorite, Stones and Findings, are all open by appointment only, or still drive pickup and order online. And then John Bead Outlet just opened this week, or last week, it's Monday now. And they are just go show up and wait. They only allow 10 people in the store at a time, but they don't have appointments. So don't want to do too much in that heat, but last week, but hopefully this week it'll be nicer. So those are the ones that are open that I know of in Toronto, and butterfly beads, of course. So you can find your supplies easier again. Can't find the hole in this shape. There. Sorry, this is boring watching me string, but it's setting up a pattern, doing your basics, and getting a real feel for the memory wire. Memory wire is a weird little thing because it does feel like you're playing with a children's toy. Okay, so I've got like about 1 strip done. So we're about 1/4 of the way there. What else can I talk to you about? So the upcoming classes, they're going well. I see that Boomerang now has a lot of online classes, all kinds of different things. So check them all out. Keep coming back here, but check them out as well. My friend Pam is doing jewelry classes on here as well. She started with Boomerang before I did. So she's back teaching some online ones. She does a lot of seed beads, which I do not. I try and stay away from seed beads. They drive me crazy. If you think I have a problem with finding all the holes on these beads, you could imagine with the seed beads. Okay, so I'm just double checking my pattern. I have a barrel, a shiny one, and a lantern, going back to a barrel. So there are other jewelry classes as well. That's all I'm trying to say in that whole statement. Oh, there's the hole. Okay, so these ones go through like this. I don't like it. We'll just skip those ones. So I don't usually use orange. It's not a color I wear ever. So this one is a little exception to my rules, but I thought it was nice and bright for the camera. So now I'm running low on really tiny ones, so I'm mixing it a little bit more, but we'll save some of the tiny ones for the end so that the end looks more like the beginning. So the middle will be a little different. This is why I try and paste it out or space it out, just so that I know I have everything I need. Normally in a class, I would have a bead board and I would place it all out so that I knew exactly what I was doing. But it's difficult to do in this setting. So 1, 2. Okay, I'll do a couple more here. This one's nice, tiny little one. So the bead boards, they're basically I guess they're plastic. And you place all your beads on them. They have this spacing and they actually have rulers so you know how long to make things. They're quite fun to play with. So check them out. There's 2 different kinds. Oh, there's a lot of different brands, but 2 different kinds. One is for necklaces and bracelets, and one is strictly for bracelets. The one that's just for bracelets, it actually has the main sizes, goes by centimeters. So I think it's about 14 centimeters up to 18 centimeters, and you can place it down. So if you're making for other people, you can know how big around, because once you add beads, it's not going to be the same dimension as the wrist. Just a little bit of math. My cat is at the other end of the table chewing on a bunch of wire that I have there. It's not dangerous for him, so I'm not going to worry about it. But if you hear a little bit of noise at the end, that's him. Okay, let's keep going. All right, where am I? Okay, I need a couple more. Don't like that when it's too gold rather than orange, so I'm just going to set it aside. So in my bin here, I'll just bring it up for you. I have a bunch of different packages. This was my orange. This is a multicolor, black, green, greens and reds, blues, black and white. And they're all these bags that you can buy. If you wanted to make your own kit like this out of glass beads, there's probably like 100 different beads here. So you would have to have all those different packages. Okay, I'm ready for another spacer, and it is a lantern. You can do 1 bead, 1 spacer, whatever you want. Now I need a larger bead. It all depends on the look that you want, and they all turn out very differently. Okay. Hope everyone was okay with the heat wave last week. It was a bit of a difficult time for a lot of people. Our air conditioner decided not to work, so we were just praying that we got through it all. But this week's not as bad. And normally during a heat wave, if our air conditioner wasn't working, we could go to the mall and go to a movie, have dinner, and stay out of the heat. But right now, that's not an option. I did hear, though, that Ontario is opening up more again. So a lot of lucky people in other areas will be able to go out to a movie. Okay, so now I'm up to a barrel again. And you can see how quickly it comes along. So they're very cute, just very casual. I had a friend ask me to make one of these, and she had me make it exactly like one she had bought in New Zealand years and years ago, because her daughter kept stealing hers. So I made one. I had to take it to the store and find the right color beads, and oh, this one's not going to go. So sometimes if they're flat, they won't go around the curve of the wire, so you have to skip those ones. But yes, so I made this bracelet for her because her daughter was stealing hers all the time and she wanted it back. Okay. Two. Don't want two the same together. 2 and 4. So the other thing that you can do, and this takes a lot of planning, so you'll need a bead board, is you can put spacer bars in between. So they're locked. So they're sort of locked like this. And you'll have a spacer bar here, but you have to know how far around to do it. So you put one end of the spacer bar on here, wrap bead to here, and then put the other end of the spacer bar on, and it holds it in that spot. So it's a little more advanced than what I want you guys doing today. Today is just a really relaxing beading day. Sit here, bead, chat, have a cup of tea. If you were in my studio, you'd have tea already. Okay. And again, that one's not going to slide along the thing. Depends on how long they are. Some of them just can't fit over that curve. Now this one has a really wide hole, so it's fine. And now a few more. I'll grab a few more out of my bin too. And let me just, I'm just going to pour them here. There we go. If I need more, I'll get them. Usually one bag does a bracelet and an earring, a pair of earrings. You'll have some left over, of course, because some can't fit on the wire. I think you'll like the earring. Hope I have out some head pins. If not, we'll use wire and I'll do just a fancy little twist. I'll get an extra clasp. Hey. Sorry. That one's a very odd shape and I can't find the opening. Usually you can see the hole drilled through and oh, it's not going to curve around. One more, come on. Okay, so what's everyone working on this week? Any projects on the go? Everyone's quiet today. This is one of the days where I need you all to talk and everybody's quiet. Okay, what spacer am I at? I just did shiny, so I'm at a lantern. Okay, and look, we're almost done this. So we'll do earring. Yes.
It's Susan. I'm still struggling trying to get that little loop at the very beginning. It just doesn't, like you said, the wire is very difficult and it's not. I got a nice round shape. Here, I'll show you. I'm not getting, I took it off a video set. I'm not using extra power from your Zoom call because we find that sometimes that actually helps to make your video not stop. But this little,
I'm trying to find you.
see the little, I can't get it to close.
Yeah, you just have to really pinch it really hard and torque. Just use as much strength as you can. It is really difficult. When I teach Christmas ornaments with stars.
Yep.
I generally end up doing all the twisting at the end because people just can't. They don't have enough pressure in their hands
Yeah.
if they're not used to beading.
Well, I have arthritis, so should I take a pair of pliers and wrap it around that, grab that wire and force it around with another pair of pliers?
Try whatever works. You're not really going to see that little wire.
That little, I'm just making a little loop, right? Is that for like something fancy?
No, I like to just dangle things from it at the end. So nothing fancy.
Okay.
I'll probably just string a couple on a piece of wire and attach the wire to it.
All right.
But yes, that is a really hard part to do, is just that little wrap. And you have two of them.
Thanks for that heads up.
No problem. Okay. And now I'm back at shiny. I love these shiny little silver beads. I have them in silver and gold. I think I bought them at Bead Dynasty. I think Bead Effects has them as well. But they have like a shiny pattern on them. They're pretty and they go with anything. So I use them quite a bit. I buy them by the bagful, so I have them on hand. Anyone else with questions? Oh, I forgot to put the big heart in the center. Oh well. See, I get chatting and forget things. Now, since I didn't bring out head pins or ball pins, I'm going to double check. I may have them out here. I will show you how to make something without having to have a ball pin or a head pin. It's quite simple, but a lot of people don't use the technique because it's much easier just to use the ball pin or head pin. I was teaching earrings at an event, a big event, and I realized that I had eye pins instead of head pins, and I was just terribly embarrassed. Didn't let it show, and I went on with it, of course. So I taught them how to make loops, like hoop earrings with everything, and everybody loved that, so it worked out. But oh my goodness, I felt terrible. Okay. Oh, somebody has a bird.
That's Kiki.
The other instructor that I was talking about, Pam, has a budgie. So we see it quite often on her screen when we're chatting. Okay, so we're almost done. And remember, I did cut it a little bit longer than I needed, but we'll go right to the end. I'm doing the lawn cutting outside. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I apologize. So that's quite pretty in the oranges and silvers. Okay, my next one is a lantern, I believe. Yep. And I'll try and space it out so I end with a large one, just to finish it off the same as I started. Okay. And I think this is my last set. So and then we'll make 4 little loopy ones, and we'll put 2 on the ends of this and make a pair of earrings out of the other one. So if you get to your what you know is your end, you don't want to do any more, and there's a little bit left over, just trim it. Okay, I really should just trim this one. So again, just take your pliers. I always forget how to hold them because they're awkward. Hold the end of your wire with your finger and snip. And then grab your pliers. Try to do it quickly so that you're not worried about your stones falling off. And you can see, like, I'm really twisting hard. Okay, make sure that there's no gap. And that's it. Okay, now I'd like to have this one going that way. So we just twist it. I like to just put it in my pliers and just give it a good tug. It's really hard to move. It's another reason I don't teach the ring one, because the ring one, it was hard on people's hands. Okay, so there's our basic bracelet. Okay. And it's also one you can put on yourself. You don't have to worry about someone helping, which I always have a hard time with. My husband's a lefty, and so for him to try and do up jewelry for me is really awkward. All right, so I'm just going to clear this away a little bit. I'm going to pick the ones I want and use some of those silver balls. I love those. Okay, and then I'm going to put the rest of them back in the bin so I can close it so I don't have any accidents. I'll use the heart and this pretty one that I like as my bottom pieces, the little hangy thing. And let me just get these back in the bin. I've got probably a few hundred beads there. I don't want it tipping and spilling. So, all right, close. And as I mentioned, I don't have my eye pins or head pins here, but we'll use wire. And I can put these guys away because I don't need them anymore, and I can go back to my nice little one. So I have my 20 gauge wire here. I'm just going to cut off a little chunk to work with. What you want to do is you want to take your round nose pliers. I'm going to grab a different pair. These ones are finer. I didn't want to use them for the memory wire because they're not as tough. But this is just a 20 gauge wire. So put a tiny little loop on the end. Okay. Just like so. Right, just a little loop, and then start stringing. And this is going to be your earring, or this will be the end. So I'm going to do the heart on one. And so you just end up with that little loop on the end. It's cute, and you don't have to worry about having head pins, eye pins, ball pins. You make your own. And I'm going to add, actually I'm going to add a ball and then the heart, and then another ball. So again, this is just the design side of it. You know, you choose what you want to do. And then just like so. And these are just the little dangles that go on the ends. There we are. So I'm just going to bend this over my thumb like so. I'm going to cut it because that's way more wire than I need. I'm just going to cut it about there. And I'll use the other piece, the rest of it, for the next one. So again, first step, put the tiniest loop you can on there. And what I like to do is bend this back. Okay, not quite that much, but grab it flat on the round part and just like that, making your own eye pin. Hold it up so you can see it better. So you just made a closed loop at the end. So I'm going to put one of my beads on here, and then that pretty orange, bright orange piece that I have here. The frosted color. All right, and I'm going to bend that over. So now we're going to do the same thing for our earring. Okay, so I'm going to cut another chunk of my wire. I just have my huge spool that I have for my wire wrap stones. This is artistic wire. You can use artistic wire, para wire, whichever you'd like. They're a little different. I was testing out some para wire the other day, and I like it, but the texture of it is a little different. And you have to watch your gauge in the two, because what I'm used to as a gauge from artistic wire isn't always the exact same as the gauge from Parawire, and vice versa. So watch your gauge, make sure that it's the right thickness of wire for what you want. Okay, so put the little loop on the end, make sure that it's closed. This one hasn't closed fully. If I can slide my thumbnail through it, it's not closed enough. All right, that's perfect. And again, I'm going to use one of my pretty silver ones. I may want to grab out a couple of extra here. I only have 2 here. I think I'd like 2 on each earring. And because my wire is a little bent there, it wasn't going through, but it's gone. Now, actually, I'm going to use 3 silver ones, I think, on each. Oh, these go through them. Oh, I kind of like them. What do you think, guys? There's a different flair to the earring. And then I'm going to put another silver and my barrel piece that I found. And you know me, I like my earrings really long. So if you don't, make them smaller. This is my bin of the spacers. One of 3 or 4 bins I have of spacers. So I'm going to grab a few more of the silver. And I think one more silver on here should do it. So that's my ear wire. I don't know if I'm fussy on these ones, but we'll do it anyway. It's cute, just not my style. All right, so I want 3 of those. I'm going to put away the rest of my spacers that I had out. Oops. And I will show you, since I have it open, these are spacer beads with 2 holes. And so, where did I put my other memory wire? The one I haven't used yet. It went under the cloth. There it is. All right, so if I were to do it, I would put this on here through one set of holes, okay? Bead along until I get the beginning back to that same spot, and then slide it back through. So it's going to join it together nicely. Get a good picture. So if you had beads on there, they would be on this one and this one. You'd have to watch the size, but you can make a cute bracelet. You could even have big and small spacer beads with 2 holes so that it held at different thicknesses apart. Just experiment with toys with beads and get something that you love. You know, this is how we make jewelry that we love to wear, by experimenting and doing our own thing. Don't worry about going and finding a pair of earrings that you love. If you see a pair you like, go home and make them. You know, take a quick picture. You'll save yourself a lot of money. And you'll have the joy of telling people, yes, I made them. All right, so I'm going to do the second earring. And we still have to attach the little pieces that we're making onto the bracelet. And I think I have a pair of ear wires out here that I can snag for this. Didn't really plan on making earrings, so I just realized partway through my setup that I would have more time than I needed. So we'll make earrings. That's always my go-to. If it doesn't take an hour, we'll make a matching pair of earrings. All right, so there's my earring. Make sure that it's the same as the other one, just double check, yeah. All right, so the next step is just doing a simple loop or a wrap loop. For the bracelet, do a wrap loop. You want it to be able to withstand a lot of wear because it's going to dangle around. So you roll it over, okay, roll it over like so. This one's a little shorter than I should have for a wrap, but that's okay. And now's when I will need my flat nose pliers. So I cross it. I take it from here, the end. Sorry, you know it's harder when I'm this close to my work. And I just loop it. So it's just looped right now. And I'm going to pick up my bracelet and I'm going to slide that original loop on our bracelet onto that loop that I just made. Oh, come on. You have to open it a tiny bit. There we go. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can close it off with a regular loop and then use a jump ring to attach it and attach the two loops together. But I will show you, it's just hanging there. Now I'm going to finish my wire wrap loop. So I'm going to finish that curve and then I'm going to hold my, oops, drop everything. Hold the loop that I have made. Okay, oh shoot, I need to switch hands, so I have my dominant hand wrapping. If it were longer, it would work easier. Let me finish this one off and I will show you with the longer one how easy it is. I'm making it seem a lot harder. Do not trim it as closely as I did. I was thinking simple loop, but this one should have it wrapped. So I'm just going to finish it off and then I will get back to you and show you how to do the proper one. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Didn't plan ahead on that one. And it's a really small piece of wire. So I'm just trying my best to get it twisted around. And again, when you have the longer wire, it's so much easier. Go. Okay. And now I'm going to try one more turn. There we go. And I'm going to trim that little bit off. There's not much left there, but there we are. So that's the first dangle. Now the second dangle is so much easier because I have so much more wire to work with. And we place it on our pliers like so. It's about 1/8 of an inch in on our pliers. The stone is directly under the pliers and the wire is going out straight. We take the other hand, I'm trying to keep my fingers out of your view, and we just roll it over and down the other side. So it forms like a little P. We put our pliers back in and we just loop it like so. There we go. Now we're going to just allow this to be opened a little bit. So I'm just going to hold it and pull my wire so that it's open. And I'm going to slide this end of my memory wire onto it. Just like that. Okay. And then I want to close that loop again. Switch hands. So I'm using my dominant hand to wrap and my non-dominant hand to hold. And I just hold the loop I made like so. And I take this wire and I wrap it around once, even twice if you can, and then trim it. So take my, I have my Japanese trimmer again. Okay. And there's our bracelet, all finished with the little dangly bit. And I will put this on and show you how pretty it is. Should have done pink since I'm wearing pink, but there we are. Okay, so now the earrings we've done to this point. Let me grab a pair of ear wires. I'll just take them off another piece that I was working on here. There we are. They're awfully shiny. They glinted from the sun out there. Okay, so I have to find the opening. They're closed so well, of course. It never fails. If you close the jump ring and it closes perfectly, it's probably in the wrong spot. Okay, so I'm going to just leave that one. And then I have the other ear wire here. I'm gonna take it off. These are lever back. I don't tend to like the lever back as much as the regular. I have a hard time putting them on, personally. Maybe it's just me. I like the shepherd's hook. Or like I'm wearing up here, the stud. So, okay, so now I have my 2 ear wires. And they're not the same, but for demo purposes, they're the same. That's so terrible. Let me see if I have another one. Yeah, sorry. Until it's a Monday. Anything that can go wrong will. Okay, so I'm gonna just open that up. Take the jump ring out. And these are simple chainmail earrings that I make all the time. Okay, so I'm just gonna drop those back in the bag. Now I have my ear wires and they're open, so I can slip a loop over them. Let's do a simple loop, or we have enough wire, we'll do a wire wrap loop. So again, set it in 1/8 of an inch and the piece directly below and as close to it as you can get. Roll this over and down like so. Put it back on the bottom tine of your pliers. And we want our loop fairly small, so we use it close to the end. And then we take our flat nose pliers and we cross it and then wrap. Okay, and all I'm doing, I'm just pulling it with my pliers and going around. This wire that I'm using, it's for wire wrapping stones. It's a little thicker than I would normally use for head pins, but we're good. Okay, and then trim that little bit. And it slips on the open ear wire piece, and then that is closed. So I have to put my finger there so it doesn't dangle. All right, and then you just pull it. And you always feel with your nail, because if your nail can slip in there, then that wire can slip out. That's my rule of thumb. All right, so there's one of your earrings. And again, if you don't like dangly earrings, make them smaller. It's your choice. Okay, let's get the other one done, and then we'll have about 10 minutes for questions and answers. Okay, again, I'm going to go through each step. 1/8 of an inch in on your pliers. And if you're doing loops a lot, mark it. If they're black pliers, then use a little bit of white, maybe, what do you call it? White out, and just make a mark. If they're silver pliers, use a black Sharpie. Okay, so this wire is a little bit shorter. I'm gonna work hard and get it wrapped. But if you're doing like a necklace like this one, where it's all put together with the same technique, use a Sharpie on your tool so that you know exactly how big to make your length, your loop. Okay. And let's just wrap that one more time. I'm going to use my nail just because I can't get the pliers into that small of a space, but I can get my fingernail. Try. Turned it a little bit. There we go. All right. And then I'll trim that little wee bit off so it doesn't poke or catch clothing. Oh, maybe. It might be too short to even trim. If it's too short, you squish it with your other pliers. So you just take them and you squish that end in. There we go. Now we're going to place it on the wire, ear wire, and you can see I've opened it up just a slight bit, slide it on, and then I take my flat nose pliers again. A lot of the dropsy part is because I'm working up higher today. Okay, and then we close it. And rule of thumb, if the thumbnail slips through it, you have to fix it. So you shouldn't be able to feel any gap. And don't go by sight because most of us wouldn't be able to see that little gap if it was there. So there's the earring to match the bracelet. And I think I used a much lighter orange on these. If I were to compare them before I made them, I would have put a darker orange in to match the bracelet better. But c'est la vie. Any questions? Now I know you have questions, but it doesn't even have to be about this class, just jewelry making in general. Wow, you're a quiet bunch today. All right, well, thank you. I will show you one of my favorite pieces of jewelry. This is my dragon scale bracelet, all done in chainmail. So all the little links are just formed into a beautiful slinky bracelet. You can also wear it as a choker. Okay.